Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 129th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, August 4th, 2020. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be one of the hosts today. And we are, of course, joined with the Universal Council, who will be presenting today's workshop. Okay, do we have a representative from the Universal Council?
Yes.
To begin?
Hello, Rick. Can you start the slides? Welcome, my dear ones, to one race, one planet, one nation. Welcome to the Universal Council. Welcome to the love. Welcome to the peace, and welcome to all that is love, my dear ones. This is the presentation of the Universal Council as one nation, one race, and one planet. And these are the words, beautiful words. I will like to read as words resonates with the soul. So our global mission is to acquire, to have the one nation, one planet, one race. Through the beauty of the soul of diversity of languages spoken on planet Earth, all souls are as equal and all are as creators as they are created in the image of the Creator. Rick, the next slide, please. So the global missions, yes, the global missions and the vision of the global missions are: every man's reality starts with a vision, and by these visions, man will step into one nation, one planet, and one race. Preparing mankind for the next step, our global mission is to bring all the UC, Universal Council visions to reality, and it is each man's responsibility to contribute their part into the vision, which is in turn, in totality, we will go to the level in one go. And I will also add with my soul that as a universal community, we are all soulfully helping, sharing and loving each other from eons, knowingly, unknowingly, as because our creator has created all of us in this manner. So as each of us is a universal energy of peace and love, have all the capacity to create and give, and then to radiate the energy to all that is. So please join. I especially appeal to the younger people, younger generation, as the table is all here. Everything is there for you. There is no need for any pain and any suffering or any struggle anymore. Just join, add your energy, because we need to touch each and every being of this planet to go beyond what is love, what is that is love, what is that is peace, to understand the level. So please join as Universal Council members or Universal Council supporter for a group to form a group to radiate more and more energy to the planet. And as because this is the peace time, this is the love time, and with the 5 pillars creating the dome, this is the home time. Next slide, Rick. These are the 5 pillars of all souls interacting with the universal creator, the creator of the soul. And these pillars are vertically standing as we should. These pillars are soul, ethos, unity, service, and peace. And peace is the root of everything. If there is peace, you can attain what you need. All these can come in balance together, in alignment, in interaction with all the communities, the universal communities. So the next slide is, Rick. this is about, well, there was a, okay. This is about the education and teaching, the vision. Our vision is that man expands the knowledge of the creator and creation through this planet and spans of the universe. As we, I'm also saying that as we are repeating it again and again, that many new people are coming and they have to know about the universal, about the application, about the joining of the Universal Council as a member or Universal Council group. So this is very important to know about the vision, and the full knowledge is freely available and known to be used and to be utilized by anyone from anywhere. As service is one of the universal five pillars of the Universal Council, universal pillars, we learn, we teach, we share with others. Every man is a teacher of the knowledge that carries within, and every man is a student of creation. Rick, and the next slide, please. So, Emmanuel, can you read that? Resources and technology.
Yes, yes, okay.
Okay, okay. You can read after this also. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Yes.
I am UC Universal Council supporter for the Maltese language. I'm going to read about resources and technologies. Vision. Okay, our vision that follows the five pillars, which are soul, ethos, unity, service, and peace, sees the resources are in unlimited part of this planet and beyond. Technology is what man brings out of man's understanding of the law of universe and creation, and with it brings comfort, wealth, stability, peace, health, and joy to every man in this planet and beyond. Man uses fields of the universe for all his needs as man joins the universal community and opens up space travel. With the new understanding of the knowledge, man harnesses the resources in a way that all inhabitants of this planet, the planet itself, and other beings in the universe are safe. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Okay, you carry on, Shweta.
Council, please read the UC Charter and UC mandate. Decide with your soul, because this is the most important thing you have to decide this time. Universe.
Sir Shweta, we have a microphone noise. We can't hear you.
Now you can hear me? Hello?
No, there's microphone is rubbing. Maybe it's no.
Could
There,
be a
that's-
connection.
Yeah, there's a connection or it's rubbing somehow. Could you try again? No, it's a bad connection there. There's a bad connection in your microphone. We can't hear you.
Okay, I'll change the microphone. Emmanuel, can you read this? And then
Sorry, I have to mute you until you figure your microphone out there. It's very bad.
Okay, I will read.
okay, thank you.
Invitation to join as a UC member or UC supporter. Okay, you have to go through the UC charter, read the UC charter and UC mandate. Then decide with your soul. Universal Council members can join the open language positions. So you'll be one of the council members for your language of your nation. And Universal Council support members can join any chosen language so that they will support the Universal Council members. You can apply, the form is to apply at the end of the page, okay? You go to https Keshe Foundation, about UC, and there you can find the application form. We need a new generation youngsters, okay, so that they can join our Universal Council members, because Universal Council member can only stay up to 60 years old, so that we give a chance to um, fresh, okay, um, young people, and then we'll have new ideas, fresh ideas, okay, so that we always continue to evolve and not just have the same people with the same ideas. So anyone who is interested to join as a UC member, Universal Council member, or a Universal Council support member, they can apply. Okay, where to apply, the form to apply is at the end of the page. Thank you. Next page, please. Okay, I can read from the UC Charter. The Universal Council Charter for Humanity is recognizing all collective commitments of all souls on planet Earth and in the universes, and for all to be as equal. As the Universal Council journeys along the path of service, the Council guides to elevate all souls for them to bring peace on this planet and in their process of travel and existence in the universe as a whole. So this is part from the UC Charter. Next one, please. This charter provides a bridge amongst all men and all inhabitants of this planet, and between humanity and the universal community. Through the beauty of the soul of diversity of the languages spoken on planet Earth, all souls are as equal and are as creators as they are created in the image of the Creator. With this understanding, the Universal Council establishes this charter to guide the soul of mankind and all others, so that humanity knows how to conduct themselves in a peaceful manner and harmony with each other and with all other beings of the universes. Next one, please. So this is excerpt from the UC Monday. The soul of the Universal Council member should shine like the light of the Creator, to be the source of light for other souls and radiate the light of the beauty of the Creator, and have and try to reach all attributes of the soul of the Creator. Members of the Universal Council are chosen by strength of their souls alone, in serving the humanity and the universal community, and never by others. The Universal Council is responsible for interaction with the universal community. Next one, please. Okay, here we have all the links and to documents and contacts emails of the UC members. So you can take a print screen of this and you'll have all the information. Yes, are you ready, Sveta?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Emmanuel. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're loud and clear. No noises now.
Okay, thank you. So this is the contacts and the links to the documents, as Emmanuel said. You can read, my dear ones. And I again appeal to the younger generation and to all energies, all loving energies, all souls to fill the application and be with the energy. At this time, this is very necessary. I will say in the time of transition, I will say, to the dimension we have never seen before. So please do contact. This is UC Hindi language. I'm Shweta Anwar. Salam, namaste, salute to everybody, and welcome, welcome to the energy, to the council. Thank you. Stefania, you have to say something now. Hello, Stefania. Hello.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Sweta.
You want to say something about the soul, about your experiences?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Because I've been asked to talk about a little bit about the Immersion project. And because it's very relevant with the soul teaching, so I've been asked from some people, the Universal Council, if I can share my experience of the Immersion project when where we were start to work with the soul. So I can. So I've been asked also to share this experience, not all in one go today, but every Tuesday I can we can talk a little bit. If I didn't say everything what I have to say, I can continue the next Tuesday, and anyone here who is listening is welcome to make some question, or I'm happy to answer. The reason why also I said yes to this request to share my experience is because this was also the wish of Mr. Keshe. Mr. Keshe, when we finish the Immersion project, one thing he said to us, he said, please now go on and teach what did you learn. So that's why I'm very hoping to share my experience. Of course, I was not the only one in the Immersion project. We were 4 at some point, then we were 5 as well people. So I give you my experience from it. I'm sure that each person who was part of this project, when they feel ready and when they want to share their experience, will be a little bit different. Everyone is going on understanding of it. Yes, so I can talk about this if you like. So for who didn't, can you hear me properly? First of all, is my voice okay?
Yes, it's really good.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah. So as you know, the Immersion project started. I think now it's already 3 years ago. Oh my God, must be 2.5 or 3 years. Yeah, time goes really fast. And so there was the announcement about the Immersion program, and actually it didn't go ahead for a year. I think there was, from the moment there was this project to when it started, I think some time passed by, and then the project started. I remember that it was very interesting also the way I decided to be part of it. And also how everything went smoothly from the moment I decide to the moment I started. I was officially enrolled, and I went to Africa. Everything went very smooth, so that for me was a good sign that maybe I was doing the right things. So I always wanted to study with Mr. Keshe because I met him like in 2008, and I was keeping asking if I could study with him, and he will always turn down my offer. He always said to me, "Are you a doctor or are you a scientist?" And I would say, "No, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist." And he was always said, "Okay, so you cannot at the moment you cannot study at the moment, because we're just open to doctor and scientist. I remember when I met Mr. Keshe in Minov, even before he started to do any public teaching, and from the very first moment I met Mr. Keshe, inside me there was this idea that he would change the entire world, and I wanted to study with him, even though I didn't know what he was teaching at the time, and I didn't know anything about plasma technology. I didn't know nothing. The only things I knew that a person that I knew from where I was working, he was renting this place to Mr. Keshe, and he was telling me about a man that he was healing people with water. So at the time, we didn't know what plasma was, and it sounds strange, but inside me, I always had a kind of something was said to me that this person will change the entire world, and I'd have to stick with him and follow him up, even though at the time he was not doing anything public yet. But already then he had many people coming from all over the world, and here we were in Belgium, where we're traveling everywhere to going to see him, and I had to wait I don't know how many hours to just see him. And so already I could see from first time I met Mr. Keshe, he was fully dedicated to whatever he was doing. And he even told me, because when I heard about Mr. Keshe, I couldn't sleep the first night. And I thought to myself, if it's true what my friend said, I have to go and to meet him. So I asked my friend to organize a lunch, and I just took the train. I was in UK at the time. So I just took the train and I just went straight to Minov. And the moment I met him, I have these feelings, like I said to you before, that he will make a big change for the whole world. And I just wanted to follow him, even, as I said, even without knowing what he was doing. So I went to see him, and I wanted to tell him what I was doing, but he was not interested in what I was doing. He was just interested in what he was doing. And he said to me also, sorry, you cannot study with me. So, but I kept the suggestion of my friend, Yvonne, that he told me, just stick with it, before or later, maybe you will have a chance. It will open up to more people, and you will have a chance to study with Mr. Keshe. So this is what I did. I kept going Minov, and then following over the years, and this take us until through all these years, up to 3 years ago, and I asked him again another two times if I could study with him. He gave me the same answer: no, you're not doctor, you're not scientist, so no, sorry. Until the Immersion come up, and by then I was nearly thinking, no way I will ever study with Mr. Keshe. But it just started. But I thought I'm just gonna give a try one more time, and I didn't even know exactly what was the program of the Immersion when I applied. I understood, but was not quite understand it totally, everything about it. So, but I just wanted to apply. So with surprise, Keshe told me I could apply. And then from that moment, he said yes. Like in less than a week, I had everything without knowing, actually. I already organized the vaccine to go to Africa. I already organized the visa. Even before that he would have said yes or no, I just pretend, just in case I was going. So I was already set up. And then in less than a week, from the moment he said yes, then it was very quickly that then I prepared everything. I already had the visa, already have a lot of stuff that I prepared. And then next week I was gone for this project. Not knowing if I was good enough for it, because I didn't do much practical. I was not a perfect student. So not much practical. Actually, matter of fact, I just did the guns only once for a friend of mine who was had a cancer, And I wanted to help her with the plasma technology, with the Keshe technology. So that was the only time I did my guns of CO2 and CUO, and so it was the only time. And then I used, were not even being used for my friend because they was thrown away from the husband. But anyway, it's not important. But anyway, so I thought it was not perfect study, but anyway, Keshe said yes, and then everything went smoothly, and I was on the training. As you know now, we were at the training. We were four people. And then a fifth one came in and then stayed with us, join us later. What I liked about Mr. Keshe is that he started with the end. Unfortunately, I can't remember exactly what he told us, but he started by telling the end of how things was going to finish. So it was really nice. And then he told us that he took 4 normal people, that it took 4 normal people. I'm gonna slow down. I know I'm talking fast, so I'm gonna try to slow down when I talk, because for the people who translate in other languages, so I know it's difficult if I'm talking too fast. So I'm gonna slow down, sorry. He said that he wanted to have, he chose 4 normal people that didn't have any background in scientist or doctor. So that's why perfect. And he wanted to prove that if he could taught this to us, he could have taught to everyone, could have learned it. There was a reason why we were in 4. Everything was for a reason. Nothing was for a case. And we were 3 men and 1 woman. I was a woman. And for who didn't know. And they didn't have much background in scientist or being doctor. So that was his plan. And also he make us notice that no one of us had brought a pen, paper. No one of us was taking notes. This was another thing that he make us notice, that no one of us had pen and paper. And it's true, no one has actually brought any pen and paper. The program, it was very simple on the fact that we were in this university, nuclear university in Accra. And we had 2 rooms in this university. And we have the room for the practical and the room for the soul. The room for the practical had, at the time we're doing the reactors. And we had Mr. Keshe and the other teacher teaching us, like Alex. So we had the room of the reactor, and then we had the room of the soul. So, and in the room of the soul, there was nothing. There was just a kind of table, like a round table with chairs, and just like a board where you can write. And Mr. Keshe was very, very clear from day number 1, and he said, if you want to learn about the practical, that is the room, and there you go. The teacher who can teach you about the Keshe technology, and here I'm going to teach about the soul. So he was very clear that he would, in this training, teach us mainly the soul. And then another coincidence that there was many coincidences that happened at the time. So like another coincidence was that he asked us to, when we arrived, to show a picture that we supposedly have on our phone of a spacecraft, and is the spacecraft of the sun with the rings around. And suddenly we were coming from different parts of the world, and he asked if any of us has got this picture, and everyone had this picture, actually a part of me. So I thought, oh my God, maybe I don't supposed to be here. I thought, because I was the only one who didn't have this picture, but Mr. Keshe had it, and the other three Immersion had it, and they all took it in a different place with different people in different circumstances. And I didn't have the picture, but the ironic thing was that a few days later, when we were walking on the beach, and my friend said, Stefania, maybe you didn't have this picture on your phone because you always look on the floor when you walk. and so you never look the sky, so you will never miss it. And as this person said is, we look at the sky, and then there was actually the picture, there was the spacecraft with the sun and the rings around it. So on that point I thought, okay, I saw it and I had witnessed it with me. So now we all seen it, because that, okay, of course, was not a coincidence that we had that picture. And yes, so the Immersion teaching started, and the main things was soul teaching. So the soul teaching are the soul teaching that Mr. Keshe done after we came back from the Immersion. So the same teaching that we had, you had as well, on the public Thursday teaching. So you can go back with the recording for who joined us on the last year or so. If you go back on the recording, on the knowledge seekers, they are all there. You have to go back like 2 years ago to 3 years ago. So Mr. Keshe, of course, he said, first of all, you need to know where is your soul, and how you can access it. And so we every day we were meeting with Mr. Keshe in this university, and he will always give us 100% of his time. And this is what I liked about Mr. Keshe, that is 100% with you, and he listened to you 100%, and also he made us be equal. There was this equality. We always felt equal. Every choice or decision that we're supposed to make as a group, we always consider as equal. So if one of us were not okay, we need to be everyone okay. So so there was this equality. This is what I really felt very beautiful by working with Mr. Keshe. So I was, and they always give you 100%. So it's not like when you're talking, maybe you can see he's distracted. He give you 100% of his attention and his time. So we already done spot on 10 to 5, never 1 minute late, never finish 1 minute early. It was always full commitment. And this is as far as I remember Mr. Keshe, since I met him from the very, very first meeting. This is how Mr. Keshe has always been, and is even now. So it's got this consistency that you can also find in his teaching, in his behavior, in his way he is. they really admire. At the beginning, it was really funny because big headache. I personally couldn't understand anything of what Mr. Keshe was talking about, and was the beginning, especially the beginning. Mr. Keshe was always talking about how the space work, and how the soul is, where he is, and just big headache. And he would say to us, "Don't worry. You don't understand. If you don't understand, not worry. Your soul will understand. I'm teaching to your soul." And I think this is what he does to us always on the Thursday teaching. So I really do believe that we're a little Mojan, but what we're doing now, right now, is a bigger Mojan. So this is the Mojan continuation. And I'm grateful I had that experience, because I can share with you now. And if we could do what we did in 4, I cannot imagine what we could do, all of us together. And I had not experienced at all at the time. And, you know, so anyone here that just joined us, or anyone here that maybe it considered themselves like a bad student, not to worry. You know, I didn't have much knowledge then, and we managed to do a lot of stuff. Anyway, so go back to the teaching. At the beginning, what I remember, a lot of headache, and not completely understanding everything. I have that kind of comprehending, like Mr. Keshe said, it's important to comprehend and understand. You have that comprehensive. But I think because, like he said, he teaching to your own soul. So that's why no need to understand everything. You have to just trust that your soul is learning. Yeah. And even so, we were spending every day with Mr. Keshe doing this teaching in the university, nuclear university in Accra. And then we, in the afternoon, we would spend time with him, meeting up with him for dinner or for an afternoon somewhere. And the teaching was going on. So every time we're Mr. Keshe, he was teaching us all the time. And when we were on our own, we're supposed to practice. But as you know, for who already follow Mr. Keshe on his teaching for a while, he would say certain things. For example, he would taught us about different way of practice. But then he also would say, no need to practice. So you always left with to the point that you have to trust your instinct, and you have to do what you feel you should do and do your best. So in the afternoon, we were practice, or in the evening we were practice, not knowing exactly what to practice or how to practice. And I remember at the beginning, we were also frustrating between us, because we didn't know if we were the right people, and we didn't know if we could be at that level that we could deliver whatever we're supposed to deliver. Because the Martian, in theory, is the first man in space. So we didn't know if we could do whatever we're supposed to do. And I remember a lot of talking, you know, me Italian, we had one Mojan from Argentina, one from Switzerland, and one for Asia. So we were, the one from Asia, we would never talk. but the Argentinian and the Italian constant talking. So we were just talking, and by the days and by the weeks, our talk is diminished. We kind of run out of things to talk. And also the headache and the frustration was actually diminished, and everything like magic start to make gradually sense. It's exactly like Mr. Keshe said, saying, is like a puzzle of information that you receive, and then suddenly those information, they are like a puzzle. They start to form in the bigger picture. But it's something that comes with time, and it's not something you can push in. So no point to spend days and days thinking, because it's just gonna give a headaches. But suddenly, when the time is right, things just naturally will start to make more sense. So at the beginning of the project, as I said, we didn't know if we were doing the right things. We were trying too hard to try to do the right things, or try to do and say, and that it just brings you a little bit more opposite direction. And then as the time went by, things start to make more sense, and also things start to happening more naturally when we will practice in the evening. So the things I want to share with you was the main things that I understood to be important. And definitely have the same vision. So Mr. Keshe really want us to have the same vision. So we would not want us to have the same vision, but he was asking us, which is your vision, which is your vision? And he would say, if you have one wish, only one wish, which would be that wish? So we were said our wish, and until suddenly we all had the same wish. So if it was only one wish, so if you could have what you want, only one thing, and you have a magic Aladdin magic person, I said, I can make one wish, which would be, and we all end up by saying word peace, because the word peace is got a lot into. It's got peace also means balance of the fields, and when the fields are balanced, it means everything. It means abundance. It means no war. It means no starvation. It means all equality. It means no suffering. It means, we're all one. So you can see with one word, you can collectively, so have all the wishes inside in one word. So for me, so we end up with that wish, word peace, no? And of course, it's what we signed with the peace treaty that we done last week. That is very, very important. Very important that more people signed this peace treaty. It's like you're so committed to the world peace, and more people signed this treaty, and more were committed to this wish. And it makes us understand that to have one wish is you kind of directing the energy all to one point, and is where we become stronger. So it's where I think this again, all my interpretation of what I understand. So definitely the one vision, it was very important. Is anyone has got any question so far? Or shall I go ahead to continue?
I was wondering how long the program was. How many days did you spend together as a group?
I think it was in total, I don't know if it was 2 months and a half or 3, something like that, 2.5 or 3, I can't remember. We extended, and we supposed to do a second part, but also Mr. Keshe was very clear that he was not sure we had a second part, and maybe we would, maybe don't. But definitely was very happy to kind of pause. And actually I thought it was very true. And then maybe we're going to be a second part, but we did 2.5 months of being together, and towards the end, things start to happening. Like the moment you let go and stop worrying, I think when and you stop things to say, is when things start to happen without us doing anything. There is any sorry, did I answer your question, Rick?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So any other question? Mm-hmm.
I'll remind the attendees here in the Zoom chat that they can put their virtual hands up so we can recognize you and allow you to speak. And just looking at the other chats and see if there's any questions. Don't see any right now.
Okay, so I'll just continue a little bit, and then unfortunately I have to go. But we're going to continue the next Tuesday if you are interested to know more about it, because the important things of sharing this experience, my point of sharing this experience is to make you understand, to everyone who is here present, that we were 4 normal people with no background, much background. So that is the main things, that because if we could do that, then we all can do whatever we have to do now together. So, and then towards the end, what happened is that every lecture we had with Mr. Keshe during the day, things were happening in the evening when we were practice. Unfortunately, I'm gonna do like this program in TV where I keep you the suspense and have to tell you what will happen next time, because I have to go shortly, so I will not be able to tell you all the story now. But the interesting things was that towards the end, things start happening. So, and I think that without knowing, we were preparing condition. We're preparing condition for things to happen later on. So the project of the Immersion supposed to have been first people in space, and I think we did that. I have my experience is that we achieved that, but it's like we maybe, because the human beings are always need confirmation of everything. So even though the things were happening, were difficult to believe, or I'm glad that I was not on my own, because if I was on my own, everything happened to me when I was in the Immersion, I would say that I dreamt it, you know, or I don't know what it was. So, for example, I remember one day that Mr. Keshe, he taught us. So we were talking about the soul. So, and I invite you to see the teaching of the soul teaching. So he explained the first part, where the soul is, then explain how to be closer to your soul, how to get in contact with the soul. And all those things, you know, because it taught us as you as well. And then, but then it started to also talked about how, definitely how important between all of us to be in contact, all four of us, we had to be in contact at the soul level. So he really make the importance on the fact that we're supposed to meet up in the dreams. When you are meeting the dreams, and I can tell which color of t-shirt you had, and you know which color t-shirt I have in the dreams, and I said to you, oh, yeah, yesterday I dream about you. You had the blue t-shirt, and you said, I dream about you. You had the white t-shirt. I said, yeah, I had a white t-shirt. So that means we are connected. That was also very important. I think it's something that we have to learn. I think something important for us as well now to stay in contact of each other at the soul level, and up to the point that we're going to meet up in the dreams. And then another things that he really told us to be very important was to really start to be focused on the way you feel. That was also very, very important. So you have to start to notice the way you feel, and then you start to be aware of how other people feel next to you. So for example, we were in a circle, and someone would Keshe would say to us, in second, tell me how so and so, you know, the person next to me feel. And I have to say, in second, if I would wait 2 minutes, gone, lost, because the moment you think is not it. So you have to do, when your things are, first things come to your head, usually it's from the soul. Then the moment you start to rationalize or you start to talk, that's it. It's not anymore soul level. So these are the things that we will suggest to practice. And I'm still in doing now, even though I'm still, it's very easy when you know what to do, it doesn't mean you can do them. So even those, for example, I've been in the Immersion, doesn't mean I am a Immersion. I just mean that I've been in the Immersion, and I went through that experience. But doesn't mean I am arrived or I learn everything need to be learned. No, actually, I'm far off. I understood how much we don't know. But yeah, so and another important thing. So knows where the soul is, how to interact with your soul. So another thing they will tell us, if you look yourself in the mirror and you're capable to change the color of your eyes, that means you are in control of your soul. And I just remember this experience where he taught us about how we should not, one day we're talking about shape shifting, and how when you're in control of your soul, we reach to a point where you will be able to change color of your hair, change color of your skin, or if someone cuts your arm, the arm regrows. All these things that we're gonna be able to do. We should be able to do it right now, but just we don't believe it. But these things are available to us right now. But for a reason, we just don't believe it, or we don't use it, or we don't know we can. And that's why it's important to spread knowledge. That's why I'm telling you this today, for this reason, because if I tell you my experience, and if this happened to me, if it happened to me, it can happen to you. So So that day, for example, I tell you this experience, and then maybe we can talk about Immersion again next week, because unfortunately I have to go. So that day we're talking about shape shifting and how we should be able to change the color of our skin and everything. The lesson finished, and I remember me and another Immersion walking on the street, and suddenly I just remember me thinking, oh my God, I understood everything. It was just like a moment where suddenly I thought I understood everything. And I just, then few, I don't know, minutes later, I don't know how much time, shortly after, I lift my hands in front of my eyes, and my hands, my arms, my hand were all blue, like the puffs, the little man, the puffs. I don't know if you've ever seen this cartoon of this man with mushroom house, and they're blue. So my hands was that blue. So the ironic things, I just couldn't believe my eyes. I was not on my own. Miguel was with me, and I just looked everywhere where I could ever put my arm and my hands to make this arm blue, and there was nothing around me where I could immerse my arm. So I didn't touch anything. Then I was looking the sky to see if it was a reflection of a roof, blue roof on top, but nothing. I just couldn't find anywhere around me where I could have make my arm blue. But my arm were blue. It was not like a slightly blue, it was blue. And Miguel had a slightly blue on the outer of her hands. Anyway, I saw this arm blue and I just couldn't believe it, and just looking for confirmation and just look around everything possible to understand what happened, but I just couldn't understand what happened. And then again, I don't know how many minutes later, or I look my arm again and it will become the same color as now. So we were a little bit shocked because we didn't know what happened. But the next day, we told to Mr. Keshe, and Mr. Keshe taught us that which blue was, and I said it was this blue. And I don't know if you know the Havian bottle. The top of the bottle is blue. It's a very blue. Yeah, it's very distinct blue. And Mr. Keshe said to me, what did you thought before? And I said, look, the only things I thought suddenly I understood, you know, everything, which is like a second. And then the next things I see my arm's color. And the way he explained was that the human in space are blue, and the skin is 3 layers of magnetic fields. And somehow I'm altered the filter that brought to, this is the way I remember he explained it, huh? Alter the filter that detect the first layer off, and this color blue come up. So that was his explanation. So the reason why I told you this story is because what I would like to understand, and there are many other stories. I can tell the other story next Tuesday because unfortunately I have to go. But this story, I want to tell you this story because things will happen, already happening around us without us doing anything. But we think we didn't do anything, but in reality, we preparing condition over time. So if you think from the moment that the workshop, public workshop started, I don't know, Rick, it's 5 years now, I think. So for 5 years, we've been, Mr. Keshe has been teaching to us every week freely. And as I couldn't understand in the Immersion in the beginning, many of us couldn't understand maybe this public teaching, what Mr. Keshe was teaching, because some of the stuff is quite advanced, so take you time to understand. But if it's the same, like, doesn't matter if you don't understand everything. The important thing is you comprehend. So your soul has been receiving those information over time, every single week, all of us. Some of us comprehend or understand more than others, but we all been present every Thursday to this teaching. And even if you don't realize, and we've been meet up and we've been connecting between one another, and we've been sharing the same vision, we've been connected at the soul level, so we're learning how to feel one another. So gradually, we actually preparing condition, like we were preparing condition in the Immersion. And it's not relating to the place where we were, because we changed location. From Africa, we went to China, and things were exactly the same. So we had nothing to do with the location, it was actually to do with us, you know? So the different, so I think what happened to us then, it happened to us now. And like me, I couldn't believe the color of my hands when I see them. So many things will happen around us that we don't notice, or we don't believe, or we don't realize what we are doing actually. But I think we're creating conditions right now for things to happen. And like we were in the Immersion, we are now a little bit in the lockdown. The lockdown is like a little Immersion, because in the Immersion we were just us, and we were cut out from our daily work, from our daily life, from our daily routine. And I think with the lockdown in different countries, in different places, we kind of experience a little bit of that, where most of us has been brought to be separated from wherever our routine was. And maybe we'll be spending more time on our own, or we're spending more time connected with relatives that are far away, because we worry about them, or we want to stay connected with them. So I think where we are now, it's a bigger Immersion, and the conditions are pretty similar. Yes, so I told you the story of the changing the color of the hands, because I didn't do anything intentional. Suddenly I had this understanding, and I didn't know now what I understood. And then that things happened. So it was like a switch. So I think it's important that I continue maybe to share other experiences of the Immersion, because it happened in other few. I would like to tell you next Tuesday, because I think it's important to understand that we are creating condition, we have the same vision, and things will happen, or if are not already happening now. So we got more power than we think, and there is more we can do than we think. Yeah.
Stefania, can you take a couple of quick questions before you have to leave?
Yeah, I'll go like 5 minutes and then I have to go. Yeah, please.
Okay, we have a question in the Q&A from Jackie. Were you allowed to take a spaceship ride on Rand's spaceship? And have you seen an actual flight system?
Okay, so the strange things about it, when we were in the Immersion, I had a lot of vivid dreams. And I never dream. And definitely I dream, you know, spacecraft, people, but that I cannot say it was reality or a dream, but the reality was that it was very vivid. But what happened is that Mr. Keshe taught us how to make a spacecraft between us. And he asked us to literally fly the last day. But this I will tell you, the story I will tell you next Tuesday. But in this story, towards the end, he explained us the fact that you can make a spaceship you as one person, or you can make a spaceship as four. And because this was soul teaching, so in purpose, Mr. Keshe didn't want us to, I mean, he didn't say, I don't want to do any practical, but he make it clear, if you want to do practical or practice the reactor, that is the room, and that are the teachers with Armen, Alex. If you want to learn the soul and how to do at the soul teaching and the soul level, this is the room. So we stayed with Keshe, Mr. Keshe. So our intention was not to see a physical spacecraft. Our intention was to make a spacecraft between ourselves. And that have to be a story of next week, because it's again long if you want to hear. But we managed to start it, and we managed to start a process to make the spacecraft. But because of fear that I had, definitely from my point of view, I had fears. I can't stop the whole process. This what I know I did. But things that happened, I know that it was like, oh my God, I am possessed. It was like someone took control of things, you know. So and things was working like automatic. I don't know, pilot. I don't know how to explain, but things were happening without, again, us doing anything intentional, but rather than connect and be connected. But I can tell you more next week. So the answer is that I had experience of a spacecraft, but not physical spacecraft. I had experience of the one that you do without the physical. Yeah. So unfortunately, I have to go. Which is the other question?
Yep.
If I can answer.
One for next week is, what kind of soul exercises did you used to do, like meditation and so on? But we can leave that for next week as well.
Perfect. Yeah. This really going to fit on very well with the next part. Perfect. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Stefania. Lots of people are saying thank you, and really appreciate your firsthand knowledge on this. It's a beautiful presentation. Looking forward to next week.
Thank you so much. And yes, next match, I'll make sure I go plenty of time, so I don't have to rush anywhere, and we can talk even more and even depth. If you're interested, definitely I'm happy to share everything I know or everything I experienced, because I think it's very useful for everyone. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
I love your accent, Stefania. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the way you speak.
After 25 years in England, Mr. Keshe used to take jokes about me because I don't sound a proper English accent. Yeah, I'm Britalian now. Eugene.
Hello, this is Shweta again. Thank you, Stefania. Thank you so much, my beautiful. And the clue is in the blue. And I will say that as the spaceship we rode, we all have done many, many times in our sleeps, in our dreams, in our intuitions, somehow in our trance, uh, standing in a chaos also. So this is how the spaceship works. And as you have told us, me in the morning, the story about the man returned from the Amazon and has whispers in his ears. So joyful. As I'll say, the man has the whispers of the immortal beings, the beings of soul in his ears, and he was happy. And here in the cities, The men whispers to other men, not to be in the knowledge, block them. So this is a reverse whisper of mortality. So we have to be in the whispers of beyond to to be to able to hear the beyond. In our dreams we hear that, see that, even see in clarity. So these are things. Thank you, Stefania. And my dear ones who are here, if anything you want to share about your dreams, about your universal connection you have dreamt about, you've experienced in your life as a universal connection, you can share it, please. Thank you. Thank you.
I see that Doug wrote in the chat here, the Sanskrit writings of ancient India refer to many blue people on Earth and other planets. Also, the easy journey to other planets is on the soul level. This is coming back now through Mr. Keshe's teachings.
Yes, dear Doug. It was, I will say, we have to understand the proper history. India was not India before. It is India now, but it was not. It was the whole planet was united at that time also, and we call it now Sanskrit, or the cuneiform, or this language. Uh, Many ancient language there are, and the history about Tartaria, the one nation, one planet that was. And you can even see the structures all over the world in the same way. So yes, they were very advanced people. The civilization was very advanced, and uh, the Vedas and all these books are world books, and everybody should go through and interpret in their own way. And as depicted as Shiva as a blue being, Vishnu as a blue being. So this is the blue thing we should understand, and that this is what I will say, the galactic way to see them. Different color, different, again, in the universal community. And of course, they are immortals. They are always there. Just we have to know. Yes, Sanskrit is the old language, and there are more descriptions about this, but this has been blocked. They are worshipped as gods here in India, and many material things are going on with it that should not be. That is a misconduct going on, but still, they are there, and these are masters. They are there, always guiding us, as I have been guided and you have been guided, and that is what we have to do. We know the Veda is in within us. We learned from our Messiah, Shriman M. Tikesh, from years. What is Veda? We know now. What is it? Actually, what is it? It's all about your soul, about the kingdom within, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Abha. Just you have to feel. You have to feel. This is what I want to share, Doug. Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. And Bharatvarsha was the general name before. I used India because most people wouldn't know about Bharatvarsha. But there was a civilization, and that's also very clearly described, a worldwide, a connected civilization where everybody cooperated. It was basically a time like we're entering again now, with one planet, one nation, one race. They had it thousands, and if not millions, I don't know, millions of years and thousands and hundreds of thousands of years ago on this planet. These things were common. You know, everybody worked together. There may have been positions but I don't think they're the same as you know, what they are now in, say, the caste system and so on. I think it was a much people sorted themselves out by their desire to do certain things. You know, it wasn't forced, and it wasn't by birth. It was by, you know, the qualification or the talents of any particular person at that time. And so everybody was happy performing all their different tasks for the common good of everyone. There was no poverty, and there certainly wasn't any borders. There were just, you know, there may have been sections of jurisdictions, let's say, but everybody knew they were part of this the beautiful civilization. I won't go on. Thank you very much, Shweta.
Thank you, dear Doug. Thank you so much. It was always there. You know, we were walking with this peace. We wear it as a human nature. We were given. That is what the peace was within us. Then it came, appeared as a paper, as we wanted so. And this peace treaty has appeared in the Keshe Foundation, to so that everybody can see their responsibility. This is a gratitude, a respect to every soul. Every soul can do that. So there is no discrimination, no racism, nothing. Everybody is one. So this is how ethos of the foundation worked. And as the plasma technology is all about energy, beautiful energy. And now is the time to get rid of the bad energies, the illness, the sickness, the psychosis, the Stockholm syndromes, and all that is. If Mother Earth is a biological being, then we acted as a virus. Now we are getting it. So then Mother Earth is ascending, leaving her skin. We all have to do that. We have to ascend with her. So the spaceship is not visible now, but we were in that spaceship physically as Mother Earth. And then we are again going to enhance in a spaceship in a way to the dimension of clarity, where energies will work more than physicality. And that will be beautiful. And so this Keshe plasma technology will help every soul to clean, every soul, every physical soul to clean, to get somehow in a way to share each other and go in a union together. So this is what, and understand other energies, because we are also the cups. So food, what is food? What will be food in the next step? What will be happiness in the next step? What will be joy in the next step? We have always been in the matter state, and after shopping, we felt joy. If somebody told us you should be joyful, we felt joy. But in between this matter state also, we have felt the joy of the Creator straight as the love of a mother, as the love of a brother. So this is how things work, and I will say we ascended like that, and the guidance was also there. So this is how the immortal beings who are there always whispered, always guided us to be there. And now this is in the foundation, walking with the ethos. Every soul should walk. And for this, I will say, I will share the whole love, that is kindness, that is peace, that is abundance, that is a hug, that is a kiss, that is the milk water coming down. So this is how it is working now in this time. And everybody should be aware of this, I will say, careful of this also. You have to be there in time, otherwise the train will go. So this is the message I want to say. And yes, Mark, I agree. We have to be we have to be respectful to each and every soul, the soul of Mother Earth and all the soul gone, struggling, suffering. And this should not be again. And so did I appeal to the younger generation and people those who are interested in the Universal Council, that everything is on the table now. Just join and enjoy. Give your energy to all. That is what I want to say. Oh, please share anybody wants to share. Please do share. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's Dean here from the UK. I can share some experiences or some emotions that I had. When I first started with the technologies and got involved in it, I went through a very spiritual experience myself, and an awakening, a soul awakening, that I didn't really realize at that time it was a soul awakening. But through the teachings and the interactions, the field interactions with Mr. Keshe and the Keshe Foundation, and all the beautiful souls that resonate and operate through the Universal Council, the Earth Council, the core team, all of you, all the beautiful souls that exist and are here to help humanity become this new race, this new being, this new soul. So my experiences were, to begin with, I didn't understand them. It was a long, winding journey, like everybody's path is. And I had many experiences that, plasma experiences that happened that I was, it took a while to understand them. You see things, physically see things, you hear things, you experience things that most people who've not walked that path wouldn't quite comprehend it. So it seems like you're talking another language, which you probably are, the universal language, because you start to resonate with the universe and the universal community. And I think the plasma, the GANs, and all this technology, when you start interacting with it, all of you will experience certain things, like Stefania said, Sweta said, Doug has just explained. You will start experiencing this new awakening, this new being, this new soul that we're all evolving into. And it's one of joy and love for all of us, for every being here. We're going through a position right now that's hard for many people. It's that balancing of the fields, it's the balancing of your soul, it's understanding your true reality, your truth. And this is from an individual, from an atom, from an individual to a nation, to a planet, all of us, to a universe. It's universal knowledge that is coming rapidly now. It seems for everybody, in many walks of life and in many aspects, for many different reasons to people. Going back to my experiences, there were things that I started to interact with. First of all, I started to interact with clouds and formations, where I found that if I actually spoke with a cloud, and that was in a soul intention, an intention with my mind, I could actually dissolve the cloud or move that energy around or make it transform itself. And I know many people have had these experiences with this sort of once they actually connect, they start to realize that that's a truth that you can easily interact with. Other experiences were interactions with nature and birds and animals and many different things that happened over a long period of time. And sometimes it intensified and turned into magical, beautiful things. Like a thought that you had would then materialize fairly quickly in the matter state. An interaction, you suddenly realize what you just thought actually appeared right before your eyes. And so this GANs, when it it develops your soul, it develops your whole being, it develops your thought patterns, it turns you back to a very peaceful being. And also you will go through some periods where it'll be more engaging and more challenging, in the fact that sometimes if you've got emotions that aren't correct, or that need transcending, that need a balancing to make you a more universal being, then sometimes this can be challenging for all of us, I think. We'll all have different things that will happen to us at different stages. But you will find it the most beautiful journey. And we've all come to this planet to learn many beautiful things, many experiences. And I think many of you have been through this journey, and many of you are on the path, and many of you are awakening to it in this very moment. As for space travel and what Stefania was talking about, blue people and things, yes, very much so. All of this it's all hidden knowledge that's it's there, it's been there for years. It's never ending. It's always been there. It's just an awakening and a relearning of this beautiful knowledge. And Mr. Keshe has brought this forward through science. It's been brought forward by many other souls in other ways, many times. And now on this planet is time. It really is. I've mentioned this many times, but it is now the moment for this planet to really awaken. And I know we're going through some very, very strong emotions as a planet right now. But I feel that we're coming to a pinnacle point where humanity is about to make the change, to become a universal being that we really are, because every single one of us, every creature here has a soul. And if you have a soul, you're a universal being, because it comes from the universe. Not only your universal soul, but your physicality soul as well. Every single cell in your body has a soul, and those souls make up your physical body. Through the teachings, many of the people within the Keshe Foundation know this. So once you start interacting with the GANs and the nano-materials, and just the whole drinking the water or spraying the water, many things start to happen to your physical, but also your thoughts as well. And you will, all of you, have the most wonderful journey. And I know that many of you will feel discomfort or sorrow. Some of you will feel joy and love, but that's all part of the field strengths that you will come to understand, as we all will in time. I could say many more things. I think I'll hand over, as they say in America, I'll hand over the talking stick to somebody else, because I've probably said enough now. So thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you, Universal Council. I love your work. I love what you do. And keep spreading this to humanity, and so that all the beautiful souls all across this planet come to understand what is to be, what's going to come. So thank you all very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you so much. Lots of love.
Thank you, Sweta. You're very welcome.
Okay, shall we move on to the next part of the presentation?
Rick, hello, Rick.
Yes.
Actually, today this is the presentation, as Stefania has to do and I has to do. And anybody, if want to share something and about the Universal Council to join the membership, and this is how it is. The presentation was.
Okay.
And Okay.
I notice Mr. Keshe has come in as well, so perhaps he would like to pick up the ball here, as they say.
I don't know where you are to pick the ball up. Good afternoon. Good day to you.
You'll have to use your best intuition, Mr. Keshe. I think you usually can do that quite well.
What is interesting is the introduction of the new cup, the cup of vertical people last week, will bring a new dimension into teaching. And for the first time, we look at creating another dimension, except our own, where for the first time we endeavor to create another soul, which is nothing to do with us, but we become responsible for. The Universal Council, and I think the job of the what we call the souls of the Universal Council, has taken a new dimension where now we have to understand deeper understanding of the creation. Last week teaching was the beginning of man being able to create a new soul, the soul of a plant, the soul of a life which the life of a man can exist and depend on. In so many ways, if we look at it, for the first time we endeavor to create a soul. And we need, maybe in the future, depend the existence of our soul to this soul, where we receive nourishment from. With the physical eating of the plant, we get this physical existence. Now that we create the soul of the plant, can we tune to the soul of the plant and elevate our souls with the existence of the soul of the plant? Would we go to the next extension, that we connect our souls in the next step to the soul of the universe, where with the cup of man we understood the soul of physicality, with the what we call the universal soul, would we understand the new connection? We had to teach step by step. Now, the next step, would it be that we make one nation of one soul, of all the existing souls on this planet? Is that the ultimate goal of one nation, one soul? And more or less, we reach there. We will achieve that in a very short time, where it's not anymore my soul, it's the soul of the planet, the soul of the solar system, the soul of the universe, where we will gradually teach you to that point. But as I said 2 weeks ago, when we gave you the cup of soul, and a lot of people who set it up with the intention of creating the soul saw nothing. It was the first time you had to determine, is it true? Is it mine? Or have I created something which I have no awareness of? Now, the last time your soul was on top, now the soul of the plant is in the middle, because it's attached itself to the physicality of this earth. But where does the soul of this planet, Earth, attach itself to? Does this mean in the process of teachings to come, we directly know how to attach ourselves to the soul of the universe? And in that process, bring a new dimension. As we said, and many times it's been repeated, we have shown you many paths, many ways to create contact, motion, and in every essence of it, comprehension of the existence in all dimensions, the physicality, the transition of it, and to the soul of the man. And is that soul the soul of the universe? Is the soul of the man, book number 1, and the transition to reach the soul of the creator of the universe, book number 2, and book number 3, the unicos. How would the next generation interpret the 3 books? How would that interpretation come? To what extent shall we interpret? And then it comes, is that one nation, one planet, one race, is the one soul of this planet, which comes from the collective soul of the all its being. Interpretation comes by understanding of the totality. The work of the foundation is not just teaching comes, is enlightening the man. And to what extent would the man understand the totality? To what extent do we go to reach the ultimate goal of becoming part of the soul of the planet, and at the same time becoming part of the soul of the universe? Then becomes one nation, one universe. When you are detached from physicality, then there is no limitation in understanding the total process. It's just to how much you're open to reach the ultimate goal. When we ask for the members of Universal Council to come in and accept the position, it was not just for the language. Who represent the language of the cat, the dog, the ants, the trees? Who become the representative of the soul of the other creatures on this planet? Then when would we make one nation out of this planet? And in so many ways, maybe, as I said, it's the one nation of the soul. In human beings becoming one nation will elevate the soul of this planet and all the other souls of this creation and this planet at the stand beyond. We got to understand that we work on different levels at the same time, and we elevate in that process the understanding of the totality. We have many experiences, but if any of you have managed to reach that process of the totality, then it comes to one point, and it comes to reality of understanding. How far is mankind ready to elevate the soul of the planet, the soul of the universe by its soul. If we extend the knowledge, the true knowledge is the knowledge of the Creator, not the knowledge of the man and the physical dimension. And in so many ways, humanity needs to understand more.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. It's Dean here. Can I ask you a question? How do we understand more?
Look inwards.
I can speak for myself. I've looked inwards many, many times and spend many moments with myself looking inwards. Is there more to it than just looking in?
In a way, yes, but it comes to the arrogance of the man, how much you look in and what you understand, and what you see in that process of understanding. I explained, I was in the American teaching this week, and I explained in a very, very rough way, in a short way, that you've seen, we taught many knowledge seekers in a positive way, a lot of knowledge. And when they gather knowledge, when they reach that point of gathering the knowledge, they became arrogant to their own position. And we see this many, many times. We see how knowledge seekers we taught the knowledge seekers in a very special ways. We taught knowledge seekers the understanding of the knowledge in a specific way, and the knowledge seekers suddenly thought that the knowledge they gained, the meager knowledge, made them the center of everything. Arrogance. Arrogance in absolute totality. And we have seen how many of them have fallen by sight. How many of them have managed themselves to be derailed, claiming to be everything and anything else which goes with it. When you look inwards, what do you see? Humbleness or arrogance of totality? Then you will understand. If you see humbleness and being at the level of lower than the totality, even whatever level that could be, then you progress, then you see more. And if you become arrogant that everything is you and knowledge is complete for you and there is no more to come, it shows you have not even understood. And that's the time when you have to go and start from the beginning. You have to exist in a level of humbleness that you can reach the inside of inner looking. If you remember 2-3 years ago, on Thursdays we used to bring people up, let them talk, let them show, and we saw how these people got lost in the term, what we call traps of suddenly becoming everything else. And we, as I said, we are responsible to stop them making the mistake. And we stop the teaching in that way, where the same people go to other teachings and explain their systems and they say as knowledge seekers. But when we gave them the ground to come to the center, they claimed everything. When they start looking inwards, it brought their demise. We had a claim recently that everything that was done by one person and the knowledge is complete and it's a time to revolt. The whole plan in past 3-4 weeks was takeover of the Keshe Foundation. Because when they start looking inwards, they saw themselves as everything. They thought everything is complete and we are there to take over. And the inward looking brought the demise. When they saw themselves as ultimate and complete, and at the point of teaching, they dug their own, what we call demise. What do you see when you look inwards? A humble being, or someone who is and will control everything. If you see a humble being, you still have room to grow and elevate yourself. If you see yourself as a totality in everything, then you have already finished. And this is what we said many times, when you look inwards, it should be nothing. And when you look outwards, you have to become the sun. And if you can hold that position, then you become the true soul of the Creator. When you look inwards and whatever you learn, you ask, how much more I need to know that I don't know. And not that I know everything and is complete, now we can go and do what we like. We've seen it many times. If you, in a way, confirm your meager existence by the knowledge, not by physicality, then there's a room for you to elevate. And if you see it as a complete and you're done and you're everything, then you're finished. those who claim that they have the knowledge, now it's time to get rid of Mr. Keshe and that's it. So we'll see who stays. Because even with knowledge we release, we still claim humbleness. And this is what you see inside. Those who stayed close, they claimed a lot, but they saw their demise. And in Keshe Foundation, we see a lot of people, organizations who come to set people up to lead to the demise of the foundation, but it brings the strength of the foundation. What you saw in past 3-4 weeks was a total takeover of the Keshe Foundation. Teaching is complete, there is no more to teach. Now we take over. We kept very quiet about this inner looking. I did everything and nothing was happening without me. We watched it, meditate for 4 years. And we gave more room to bring his own demise, not more room to create another, what I call arrogance. When they look inside, they thought they have everything and they got. We saw it with a number of people around the foundation. How many of them are there? How many of them are still, we see and we know, and they've damaged themselves so much that they cannot come back in to be part. By the plan, this time, you wouldn't have one nation, one planet. You would have had a group of people who will take you to nothingness. Because those who thought and looked inside and those saw themselves as everything, now they had to become the owner of everything, and they didn't have the power, they didn't have the knowledge, and a bunch of chit-chat talks did not add anything to. We, as one nation with the soul of the Universal Council and everything, we stood one of the biggest coup d'etats on Keshe Foundation in the past 3-4 weeks. You cannot appreciate what was planned for KF. As one of the leading organizations, science, technology, let's get rid of Mr. Keshe. Now I'm the biggest, I understand, teaching is finished. We take over and hand it over to what are called satanic groups. There was a well-planned takeover of the Keshe Foundation. And it was very easy for us to see as we were waiting for it. We set it up to come to that point that it can uproot itself. Because when we looked, we understood that there is so much knowledge that mankind does not even understand the process. And we allowed those who are arrogant to, in a way, see themselves when they look inside as the biggest and the most important. And those who incited it, those who wanted it that way, their plan was so perfectly immaculate done except one part, which we created, and they all fell into the trap of their own. To understand there is nothing. When we start teaching the cup of soul, when we start teaching about what we call the soul of the planet set, which is the 5, and then when you receive the knowledge of last week, the soul of the plants, is the knowledge complete? As Mr. Keshe finished teaching, didn't we stop the teaching for weeks till this point was achieved? When I came here some 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, and I went directly with the Universal Council members. We had a target to trigger that point. Those who were setting us, the Universal Council and the Keshe Foundation, to be taken over. We just pressed the button and the process started because we saw it the way it was coming. And that all came because one person was made to believe that everything is done. There is no more knowledge. And when they looked inside in themselves, their inner soul, they saw themselves as the reason for everything exists, being from the Universal Council, be it of everything else. And that brought the demise. And we watched it. I think the story of past 4 weeks will become an example for those who take the path of arrogance by looking at it. And they see themselves as everything. If the knowledge of the Creator is complete within a few years, my God. So there should be not so many stars and universes and lives and planets. When you look inside and you see nothing, and you understand that the knowledge you have is literally nothing compared to the knowledge of the Creator, then you have reached a point of maturity. As you search for more and you seek more to understand more. And when you see yourself as ultimate and complete, and everything is known, then you have walked the path of those who go for their own demise. Now, what do you see when you look inside? Humbleness and nothingness, or you see yourself as a light and ultimate and everything is around you and you're the center. If you live the way I do and teach the way I do, you'll never reach demise, because you're always there to add to, because as you add, you enlighten that those who receive it to add to their soul. If you remember my teachings from years ago, what did the Belgians say? Mr. Keshe, you write your books and your papers and your teaching so simple that everybody understands. Your teaching has to be done in such a sophisticated way that nobody understands and you are in charge. I said, I teach that the farmer in Africa and the king in the palace will be exactly the same with the knowledge. They choose their path. So what do you see when you look inside? Arrogance of kingship, or humbleness of the Creator.
Mr. Keshe, sorry to interrupt you, but I've always, always not concerned and not worried, but I never saw anything. It was always nothingness, and I never understood that, because I always thought you were supposed to see something, but I never did. It was always just nothing. So thank you for what you've just explained. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. In past 4 weeks, 5 weeks, we literally walked on a bed of fire with the Keshe Foundation. and the coup d'etat and revolution and everything else you want to call it was set up. If one day I open the books, you'll be shocked in what in a meager, what I call a matchstick thought is the bonfire. And they were taking over. They were all ready to take everything over. But we were waiting for it. Since Rome Conference, we were waiting for this takeover. We watched it, we monitored it. It's been in making for years. And I gave it room to literally blow itself out of its own. And this will never happen again. This will never happen again. But in the future, the historians will write about this past 4 or 5 weeks of the Keshe Foundation. How coming from nowhere and then claiming the knowledge is complete and it's time we take over. If the knowledge of Creator was complete into cups, God help the rest of the creation in the universe with no cup. The foundation work will go from strength to strength from now on, because we were waiting for this to happen, that we could release knowledge and bring the nations together. You've seen how we start rapidly releasing technologies, new processes, and overall, a new, what I call, understanding of the creation. In a way, if up to last 3-4 weeks, those who thought the earth is the center of the universe showed themselves that there's nothing and nothingness in it. And they saw themselves as the center of the universe. And if you reach that level, it means you have not comprehended. And usually the ones who have nothing claim to understand the totality, and they have everything. Try to make one nation out of the soul of the man, as then will bring one nation of the planet. It'll be very hard to unite all the nations, but it's very easy to unite the soul of the nations, that the nations become one. And this is the job of the Universal Council. And somehow Universal Council have not understood this. If the members of Universal Council unite to become one, they have already united the nation as one nation. And then the nations will join in as well. Will disclaim the territorial boundaries. And this is the whole process we wanted to set up. Not to reach one nation as no borders, but reach the unity of the soul of the Universal Council. That through it, they bring the oneness of the nations. Then it needs time for the maturity of the Universal Council. and it's an easy process. As we asked the Universal Council to make a presentation this Thursday, as their 3rd anniversary was yesterday, or the day before on the 2nd of August, is to see where they see the future, not what they've done up to now. Where does the Universal Council see to unite the humanity through the soul, that we achieve the unity of the nations? And this will be a very hard job for the Universal Council members, as they still see each other, the soul of the given language of the given part, and not as all one. When Universal Council becomes one as soul, then you can reach the one nation, because you become one race anyway. The race of the soul of the man, not the race as the man. It needs a time of maturity.
Thank you for those beautiful words, Mr. Keshe. I feel the silence and this connection, the one soul resonating. I feel it for many souls. The explanation and the way that you comprehend and explain yourself, and the knowledge you have and you share openly is wonderful. And I thank you really from my soul for that beautiful, for the beauty of your soul and what you've done. Thank you very much.
Mr. Keshe, it's Doug here from Australia, and I must confess to feeling sometimes arrogant or needing praise for what I believe I've achieved or so on. And at other times I feel very, very humble. And in doing the work I do for the foundation, when I'm feeling arrogant or seeking, recognition slightly, perhaps, it becomes very difficult to do the service. But when I feel humble, when I become more honest, then the work or the service flows much more easily. Are we allowed to be a little bit in between as we evolve? Is that okay?
What you mean?
Well, I will only speak for myself, that humbleness, does it come in degrees of humbleness, or is it simply humbleness or not humbleness or arrogance? Are there degrees through which we change, you know, from arrogance, bad habits we've had about it, to humbleness. Does that make sense to you?
No, I don't understand.
I don't know if I can explain it in words any better than that.
Well, what's your experience, Doug? Do you feel more humble now than you did in your
Yes.
earlier part of your life?
Yes. Yeah,
So
I'd
there
say
must be degrees of humbleness then? What?
Yeah. Yes,
And
I guess that. Yeah,
how did you become more humble then? Might be the question. What is that process? Is it a process of adding to yourself or subtracting?
It's very hard. If you think of it, the richer you become, the simpler life you live. We see traditionally, as the statistics say, 95% of the people who win the lottery in 5 years are worse off than before they won the lottery. And it's like knowledge. As you gain more, if you don't understand that it's nothing to do and it doesn't bring you arrogance, it brings you a demise. So the more you have, the humbler you become. The more you understand you're just a transition point, the much more you come to understand the life of the others. And man needs to go through that process. The more, even in the physical life you have, the humbler you live. Doesn't mean live in poverty and whatever. Live a good life, but be humble. Know that wealth is a second, in 1 second, yours, and the next second not. But the knowledge is the same. What you earn it is yours. But understanding that knowledge is nothing to compare to the knowledge of the Creator, that brings you humbleness. Because what you learn in that knowledge is part of the totality of the knowledge of the Creator. When you claim you have it all and it's finished and now we take over, be it your soul, be it whatever, then you'll find out you start your own device. When you claim you're everything and you've done everything, we withdrew the last teaching from the internet for this reason. Not to embarrass the speaker in arrogance and in takeover. For me, it's very easy to be humble, even I know more and I get to and I receive more because I live that life. In the physical dimension, I've had a period run very well. As I became richer in the world of business, I became more humble. Nobody knew, but I did more, I served more. I found more solution, and I understood the wealth I had was nothing compared to the wealth I could give in different ways to people. And people who know me from my business life, whatever I had, nobody knew, but I still was amongst people. Didn't isolate, the same as teaching of today. I live my way the same as I've done my business life. Because I knew it's 1 second it can go, and it's not mine. What was to be arrogant about it? And it's the same with the knowledge. The more I The more I receive, the more I understand this is just a physical body, a postbox. Never claim to be all. And if you can reach that level, then you mature. You mature into the time. And then you understand that we are just nothing but the transition point. Then you understand. You will see in the coming weeks what has and what is to become. What does the Keshe Foundation expect to be, and what does the members of the Keshe Foundation expect to be? And in so many ways, if the knowledge seekers, or whatever and wherever, reach the level of the what I call humbleness, as number of the knowledge seekers we've seen in Iran, then you understand what really life is. We have knowledge seekers in hospital themselves helping the others, and they put their own lives in danger. They say our lives is not important. If the technology can be proven directly, that then the whole humanity can benefit by our life is both sacrificed. We have a number of people staying in hospitals like this. They go into the mouth of the lion and they come out victorious. And they say it's nothing. This is for the foundation, not for me. This is the foundation for humanity. They have no claim. Some people just get a few hours to chit chat. They claim they know everything and they're complete, and they play to the hand of their masters. We test man with the humbleness from the knowledge he gains, and not with the arrogance of what he can do with it.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That answered my question perfectly. Thank you.
Mr. Keshe, we have a question in the Q&A. If you can take a question.
Yes.
It's from Hassan, who says, Mr. Keshe, in Islam, they talk about the 313 soldiers of the Messiah, or Mahdi in Arabic. Do you know about it? And if yes, can you give your interpretation of it? Thank you.
Can you go into Wikipedia and bring it out, Rick?
Yes.
In one of the, while Rick is pulling this up, in one of the private teachings some times ago, we were trying to explain the difference between the judgment day and what they call the hell and heaven and the rest of it. Is the judgment day when the man understands he knows nothing and he needs to elevate himself, the humbleness? Or is the judgment day when a man is punished by his own ignorance? If we understand this, maybe in the future, we can interpret anything in a direct line. Would you like to read it?
Okay, the first reference I found is just with 313, which is a religious significance of the number of soldiers that Muhammad had with him in the first battle fought by the Muslims, the Battle of Badr. If I go to Battle of Badr, then we have further reference. It happened in the 13th of March, 624 CE, near the present-day city of Badr in Saudi Arabia. Do you want me to read further about this?
No, but where does the 313 comes from?
Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. Seeing if there's a reference here to 313.
Hassan mentioned the name Mahdi, I think he said. Maybe that's a key to what he's referring to.
Rick, go back to the previous page. There was a line underneath it. It talks about Twitter.
Okay, maybe that's more appropriate. It says in the 12er Shia Islam, 313 is the number of soldiers or generals that will be in the army of the 12th Imam of time, or Mahdi. Okay. And the we can go to that briefly. The 12er is the largest branch of Shia Islam. And the 12er refers to its adherents' belief in 12 divinely ordained leaders known as the 12 Imams, and their belief that the last Imam, Imam al-Mahdi, lives in occultation and will reappear as the promised Mahdi. According to Shia tradition, the Mahdi's tenure will coincide with the second coming of Jesus, who is to assist the Mahdi against the Dajjal. 12ers believe that the 12 Imams are the spiritual and political successors to the Islamic prophet Muhammad.
But don't we have in the Bible that the faith of Christ will sail on 72 boats, which means the Christianity will divide in 72 sects.
Mr. Keshe, there's a place close to Qom is called Kuwe Baz, that they believe Imam Mehdi is gonna come in that place. There's a space there. That's what they believe. That's the last prophet of after 12, the last one.
But haven't all the religions or whatever beliefs or a school of thoughts always have promised the last one to be the salvation for everything? Namely, to be the return of Christ, being the Jews promised the same, the Buddhists promised the same. And when it comes to complete the whole thing, isn't that the day of promise of the change? And all comes when the change comes for all, and that will be the same person. He cannot come and bring the change just for the Muslims. And he cannot just come to bring the change for the Jews or Christians. So if the change comes for all, shouldn't that person be the ultimate and the one for all of them? Isn't that what what we call the religions have to unify? Doesn't matter how we put it, what name we give it. So if you look at it that way, wouldn't that become the point when the knowledge of man comes to age to understand the totality? Then he realizes what wrong he's done and what needs to be done to be correct. It's not that when the promised one comes, it'll be milk and honey. It'll be milk and honey for the knowledge, for understanding of the creation. That brings that humbleness. And how much of it do we understand? The beauty of it is, if you look at 313 and what has been said will happen 21st of March 21. What does that bring? Isn't the time and date, if you understand it? The other thing which is mankind has to understand is that date only for elevation of the soul of the smallest planet, who has the smallest creatures, who call and claim themselves to be the king? Or is that the point of elevation for the whole of the universe and the universe? In the coming month, we'll teach so much that many of you will understand the significance of the time and the place. When you have that 313, it means you have the totality of the creation. That all the souls become the soul of the Creator. It's the point of completion. It's a point of understanding. It's a point of maturity. Would that become the date of whatever you call it? How do you want to interpret it? '21st of March next year, 21, by the calendar of Christianity, as you have to understand why the religious books and religious criteria goes on the Christian calendar. Even though it's a copy of the, what we call Mitraism, has a significant implication as the Christ was crowned the king. And if you look into any, as I've said before, constitution of any nation on this planet, the law of Christ is in it. Be it the Islamic countries, be it Jewish state and the rest. So we put the Christian calendar as the cornerstones of the date for man and the event of the horizon. And in the future, mankind will understand. A new beginning, a new life will set out in that way. The soul for this purpose has been set. There is no change, it cannot be changed. And one of the reasons for the upheaval of past 4 weeks was the position of the soul, the gifted soul. As the person claimed, it had to be mine, it had to be given to me, and it's given to somebody else without my knowledge. And we've seen it, the setup and the structure is said to bring 21st of March 21 in line with the rest of the works of the universal community as one nation, one planet. We teach to understand, and in so many ways, when you talk about the dates and whatever, you look at the totality of the maturity of the soul of the mankind on this planet and the planet itself. we built to that date. We built to, as we said, into November, into October, November. And then we see a switch to build mankind for the day of promise, 21st of March. You got to understand, many world religious leaders have come and they have agreed, and in a way, they have accepted the destiny of their work. That the time for their time and their way will come to an end. We see it from Islamic leaders, we see it from Vatican, we see it from other points. They all claim that the time has come. And they'll be the last one in the line. For what reason? Isn't that their soul knows of the eventuality to come? We got another 2-3 months into cleaning and what I call getting rid of all the past. We saw the biggest struggle and the stumbling block, which was embedded inside the foundation, has left. In so many ways, the door has opened up. I informed you, 3 members of the Universal Council will leave. And you saw, the first one left and 2 followed. The Universal Council for Malta and the Universal Council for Dr. Gatwa, the 3 completed. And we saw the first one, which was the most disastrous one left. When we talk from knowledge. And we see the process. From now on, the Universal Council will strengthen as the human race gets ready for the final destination of what we call the elevation of the soul of the mankind. And these, whatever is in the holy books, will be completed. And then you can interpret when it's completed, what was done and how it was done. When we took the position of the physical marriage, I protected the wealth of the foundation for the foundation. And that will stay the same in the future life of physical life. I made sure that the assets of the foundation or human race will stay for human race and cannot be claimed by no one, be it by marriage, be it by blood. And in that process, I made sure that the foundation becomes the soul of the humanity, not the name of humanity. We take a lot of steps from the beginning to make sure that man reaches the destiny and destination as was promised. In the coming days, in the coming teachings, you will see, as you've seen in past 2 weeks, The next step, progressive development of the knowledge of the man into universal community, will continue. We will not stop teaching. We will not divert from our target. This evolution is not just for the man. This evolution is for the whole of the universe, and the way is set up to bring a new beginning, a new life, a new start. And be it on the banner of 313 soldiers, be it on the banner of whatever we've seen, we will see in the coming time, even as early as last Friday, what we released as a message from Iranian religious leader to the world through the corona has been re-emphasized in trying to bring the humanity together. And we will see this will extend into other religious leaders in coming weeks. And it will bring to put the knowledge ahead of religion. Science will take a new shape in the world of mankind, where everything will be explained in the dimension of understanding and not in the dimension of mysticism. It goes back to what I wrote in the paper, which says the level of the scientist is equal to the prophet of the soul. In a way, we will interpret the religious rhetorics by the science and knowledge. And in so many ways, what we saw in the book number 1, which is translated into Farsi, has been put in the context of the religious writing. First time ever, a scientific book has been given the value in understanding in the religious writing. When the Iranian interpreters, or what we call completing the writings of the correct writing of the book was done, as we seen, as we explained, they went by understanding into the what or answers about the science. Book number 2 and 3 is in progress, and you will see the same thing. They will find verses from Quran in respect to the light of the Creator. And then in the book 3, the religious leaders will find an interpretation of the universe. Then, in totality, mankind will come to become one unified religion and one creation. We expect these things to happen somewhere after November. The process of claiming the knowledge should be shared by all religions and humanity has already been claimed by Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran in last Friday's speech. Preparing the ground for the coming time. That we share the knowledge from Iran, irrespective of religion and race. And this will bring a lot of new understanding. And this will bring a lot of new dimensions in the world of creation.
Mr. Keshe, can you take a question?
Yes.
We have Jackie with his hand up here. Go ahead, Jackie. You'll have to unmute your microphone.
That was a false hand raising. Sorry, Rick.
Oh, okay. Okay, we do have some questions in the chat, and I see Alvaro, who has most of the questions, has his hand up, so perhaps he can go ahead. Hello, no, we can't hear you very well at all, Alvaro. You sound like you're way in the distance, like your microphone isn't connected. No. It's very, very weak, like you're on the wrong microphone selected, perhaps in Zoom. No, it's, I can barely hear you. If you go into the Zoom settings, maybe you can select a different microphone. I think you said you wrote down your questions, so yeah, I'll just ask them from the Q&A. Thanks. Until you get your microphone sorted out. Okay, Alvaro's questions are, can we use 1 cup, 1 life GANs on a MagRav unit? And his second question is on the 5 cup plant setup, the 2 cups on the bottom stay the same. Can you please tell us the right order of the cups from top to bottom? Third question is, the plate in the center is always nano-coated on the plant setup? I don't know if you want to answer those kinds of questions right now, Mr. Keshe. Okay, we have a hand up here from Jefferson. Maybe we can hear from Jefferson.
Hello.
Question. Hello.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Keshe Salom. I'd like to know about the progress in the hospital in Santa Catarina here in Brazil. if the foundations have some problem or the work is being done to cleanness, and we don't know exactly what's going on. If you can give us an idea of the progress, that's very important here. We can spread this technology faster after this hospital is done. So that's the question. And Heini Manu as Komakito. Thank you.
The situation with the hospital in Brazil is in the hand of the Brazilian group, what they call Rafael. And as far as we know, nothing has happened. They have bought the systems, it's been delivered. They're waiting for approval from the committee of the hospital.
Oh yes. Yeah, that's what Rafael has told us.
Yes, Rafael speaks on behalf of the foundation, and whatever he has told you is exactly what is happening.
Yeah.
And
we're on him.
We are waiting for, or they're waiting for the approval of the ethics committee to take this up and take it further.
Okay, thank you very much. I asked you just because of you could have another position or somehow.
No, whatever released by Rafael in Brazil is what is done correctly by the foundation. He's the spokesman of the foundation.
Oh yes, we count on him. We count on everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
There are a lot of progress around the foundation, around the world, in so many aspects, especially since we released the report. The report needs to be translated in the native languages of the Universal Council members, or as many languages as possible. That will be kept going, because this report, when you give a link, it never finishes. It will add continually to, it will be added to it. So in a way, what we call the knowledge seekers will go through the same process. And you need to translate these, that as we add more into the knowledge, as we gain more from the experiences in the hospitals and cases, we add to this paper. It will never stay the same. Even from the day it was printed and given to the Americans, has already been updated again and again.
Mr. Keshe, is Jefferson again. May I ask you another question?
Yes.
About the protocols, I've been reading the documentation. We got so many protocols for so many things, or so many diseases or impairments. Should we use this study protocols, or we keep maintaining the protocols that is at Keshe Week for Cup 1, Cup 2, because there are some differences?
No, the protocol now is at CET with the, what we call, with the report.
Okay, I understand. I understand.
So we have, but all the protocols now is on the report and is only considered as proactive, which can be used.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Agil. Manu.
Thank you. The situation now with this, we will add to this, as we said, even today we have received the development that, if you remember, we explained about the cases of which is under consideration and the technology is used. Doctors just added a new file as successive and a very successful trial, which is now going on with this case. We are waiting to see more in the coming days and more coming months, that we can now show scientifically the reversal by data, by test on cases of the corona, which has affected what we call the sperm count. We just received the report this morning, and as we had a massive loss, it has been in 3 weeks 10% increase in the sperm counts, just using the technology the way we done, and the quality and the, what we call, everything with the sperms have changed to a positive. So we carry on with the same thing, and this knowledge, this report will be added to the total knowledge in the what we call in the report. This report will stay dynamic and will go that way, and refer to it, and is not one-off, and you got to understand it will be added. We're learning more and more, and we see more and more. Use the protocol according to the illness, and if you find things, you have to let us know or inform the foundation. We add to it what you've seen, what you see, and it has to be observed by the doctors and to be done.
Mr. Keshe, we had a question in YouTube from Mark House. Where can comments currently be allowed on the PDF report, as commenting was offered early on? Thanks for all.
Can you repeat?
I think you mentioned before that comments could be added, or people can put their experiences and so on at the end of the report, of the scientific report.
We will add that. That's the job of the webmasters to do that. That'll be done hopefully in the coming days.
Maybe in KF Wikipedia, or
we have to discuss. It has to be put on. We know it has to go on, And we will start doing that to be with the paper directly, maybe by link into testimonials. That's the only way we see it, but it'll be decided in the next couple of days. We need it because people, if they come up with their report, as we said, peer review, people who have tested will direct it into this to be added to this paper. It's part of the work. We just need to do a little bit more, and then we open it up that people can put their own experiences. Then we'll encourage everyone to put their tests and their results. What it says peer review by everybody allowed. Our peer review is very simple. The people who have used it, we allow it to be put in. But you have to understand there are a lot of people who want to put the opposite in too. They're just not even use it. So we monitor this peer review. It's not that we're going to tamper with it or take what is opposite negative, but we know that things are happening in a very strange way around it. And we try to stop it. And something I just remembered, please listen on Thursday morning that we need to clean up the Facebook of all these rubbish which has been put in, and we kept silence about it. Now that we got rid of what we call the last problems in the foundation, we ask you, all the knowledge seekers around the world, to target directly on a Facebook on all the what they call it, like victims of the Keshe Foundation and the rest, to be taken off the net. That all the foundation knowledge seekers write to Facebook that what it is, we give you the links, that we get these systematically taken off. We have not shown any response for a specific reason. Now that Dirk has died due to Corona of his own fault in a way, now we set up people who are trying to follow him. He's given them the right to wipe this thing out of the Facebook. Everywhere, wherever we see those who write whatever about the Keshe Foundation on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever, we target to clean up. And we start this from this Thursday. We give you the links, and it's the responsibility of the knowledge seekers, if you believe in what you do, to write to Facebook. We expect a total clearance of this. The choice is very simple. They have made so many fake things and they use a Facebook for it. They have to prove it. Or I have given our legal team in Switzerland to take legal action against Facebook and we can prove it, for deliberately allowing the formation of the character of the foundation. And we give the chance to knowledge seekers to go and clean it up. And you write to Facebook, it'll be stated out by the webmaster this Thursday. And we start cleaning up and protecting the Keshe Foundation, and at the same time promoting the peer reviews. We're promoting Golden Age of GANs in clear work they've done, and what we call testimonials, which is done, and Rick is always around there to see through. We started promotion of the foundation in a very drastic way. And our first target is Facebook, to clean up the Facebook of all these victims of Keshe and whatever. You write to the Facebook and ask for it to be cleared out. And we take action on the legal courts against Facebook and its management deliberate deformation of character. Because they should have done it and they haven't done it, they're responsible by Data Protection Act. And we clean up. If you see anything on the internet, any pages anywhere, we take legal action from now on to clean up, We let them loose for reasons we wanted. Now we have achieved our goal. We move out to clean up. We give a chance to the people who run all the, and then we take legal action against the people who own this Facebook or are writing in it. Well, for the first time, we take the writers of the Facebook by the permission character, and we ask for wherever there is a prison sentence for it to be applied. It's our right, it's the foundation and everything else. If they are my victim, and I want to take it right across, and we'll see how you'll play it. The interesting thing is that people like Wikipedia take everything else of us off, and Facebook allows it to stay on. What is to the benefit of the foundation is always removed. We'll take action in courts with it from now on, because it is important that we claim damages against Facebook. The webmaster will make this very clear how and where it is and how it's going to be done. Any other question?
We have more technical questions, but I think they probably should be in a different venue. Like in the Knowledge Seekers Workshop or the Plasma Reactor Group, perhaps? Or do you want to take technical questions today?
We're not in a technical teaching.
Exactly. We did have a question from Hassan in the Q&A. Do you think, and when will Ayatollah Khamenei announce publicly that you are the unifier?
We don't expect such a thing because there is a lot of processes going on. The process will take shape as the Keshe Foundation to be the unifying knowledge. What we deliver, we're going through the process. The Keshe Foundation and the work of the Keshe Foundation now systematically is applied and accepted in different ways by different groups in Iran. And we'll see the evolution of it, and once it's applied and accepted and goes in so many ways in public domain, will bring the rest across the world with everything else which is happening. They are very advanced, but we're making good progress in Iran, very good progress. And as I said, the book number 1, then the book number 2 and 3 is there. The report about Corona is getting translated as we speak, and will be published in Iran as a book of science about Corona. The first time ever a book published on Corona as a report has become a book and receives a national library reference and clearance by the government to be published. Which means in the next week, 2 weeks, most probably, once the translation is completed, then it'll be will be asked for what we call the official release of it as a book, and it'll become the first time the Corona, the report will be published as a book in Iran, as a publication, not to go through what we call peer review, but as accepted knowledge. The process has been allowed by the officials as of 2 or 3 days ago. We transferred the documents, version of it to be translated. It takes about a week, 10 days. And then it will be published as a scientific discovery about Corona in Iran. It needs to receive approval of the government for its release. And we already been told it'll be approved to be published. So the Corona book, the Corona report will become officially a published book. It becomes what we call base for future references on viruses. Any other question? Somebody has written Wikipedia is charity donation base, and the owners of it is always in financial problem. He cannot raise the money to keep it, so he lives by the order of the people who give him the donation. And the Belgian government, through the different channels, have contributed a huge amount of money to Wikipedia, not to put the Keshe Foundation or anything about Mehran Tavakoli Keshe on Wikipedia. So do not worry about it. To receive a donation from these groups, you must be yourself part of the group. And so do not worry, it's irrelevant. It's another peer review structure. Now that we have got Keshe Plasma Time as a scientific journal without peer review, gradually as we publish more and more papers in this structure, in print and internet and stuff, we will be building up the credibility of the paper, and all the published things will be accepted gradually by scientific world, especially now that the corona is taking new shape in Iran, and its acceptance by, and the trials which are going by the government and the hospitals. This will bring a huge credibility to the what we call Plasma Time, as is the paper where the full report, original report, was published. Any other question? I came here just for a few minutes. I usually stuck here for a long
time. Mark had a question in the YouTube about the Russians are close to what they say is a safe vaccine. Any thoughts on that?
The problem is not a vaccine. Vaccine does not solve the problem with corona, with the viruses. We need to develop a comprehensive technology. What about the next virus? What about the next virus? The way we have proposed in this report is a way, a universal way to handle the viruses. It's written, it's inside the structure of the book or report. We are not giving something to give a vaccine to prevent. We give a way to test it, to understand it, to prevent it, to clean up and everything else. What are you going to do when you have a vaccine? You're going to go to a supermarket where the virus is and spray the vaccine? Mankind has to learn that vaccines are entities, living entities without physicality. So we leave a mouse trap for it, or virus trap for it. The Russian system is on the back of the Chinese stem cell and others. And one of the reasons we have a problem in Iran to get this ratified is because most of the scientists or people at the head of the Health Ministry of Health have given bribes for these technologies to come out and they sell to the government and they get paid for. And the totality of the new technology has to cover the totality of all viruses, the ones we know now and the ones to come in the future. At the moment, we are in a limbo. People have got so much listening to that they don't understand the magnitude of the damage this corona is doing to humanity. If you look at it globally and if you look at it locally, this should have never happened. But the system is said to do. In the teaching of this week and next week, we'll bring in, as we said, you learned about the horizontal people. Last week we talked about the vertical people. And amazing enough, the minute we start teaching about the vertical people and structured soul, all interferences came in. They spent a fortune to block us last weekend. And a lot of you couldn't understand it. This week we go through it in a different way. But in so many ways, the new cycle of knowledge needs to be understood with new technologies. Vaccines don't work. Vaccine for which one? We identified, now we are in 23rd, 25th variation of it. Vaccine for which one? Because vaccine was made for the lung. What about the brain? What about the cancers we now start seeing? We now start seeing the first series of the cancers coming from corona. Can they create a corona vaccine for cancer? This is the problem. This is how it will come to become a problem. Rick puts, I wonder if anyone has tried. We did. What, they take it off immediately.
Okay, I see.
We tried, even the minute you put it up, they don't put it up, they take it down. Companies, shipping companies, specific shipping companies have deliberately been told not to deliver anything from the Keshe Foundation or return it and hold it. We've seen this. And this is all the games played by what I call ridiculous nation. Or it's not even a nation. When a king is himself bent, how do you expect a nation to be straight, let alone his transportation and post office? And in these things, we cannot interfere at the moment. And do not waste your energy on it. concentrate in sharing knowledge. His name is on it, is weak. Do not waste your time on Wikipedia. Keshe Foundation is called John Keshe Wiki. Thank you very much for today. On Thursday, we hope we bring more knowledge and more enlightenment. And hopefully mankind will move forward in a very big way. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Before I go, don't forget, members of Universal Council, you are given half an hour on Thursday to present what you see for the future of mankind in your third year. We are not looking for a report. We already had your report many times. You've been successful with what you achieved. What is your vision? If you can let us know as one soul, as is the celebration of your third anniversary. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for coming into this workshop today. Are we complete as far as the Universal Council goes for today's workshop? Is there any other announcements or other things to say?
No, I think, Rick, we are complete for today. As Messiah said, we have to prepare as the soul salvation, our vision, individually in the oneness. And we are going to do that for the sake of humanity and all that is love. So we can close today, and we all love each other, knowingly, unknowingly. Don't get time to join. Thank you so much. Salam, namaste, salute. Welcome.
Okay, if there's no other business for today, and there's any other questions, technical questions especially, you can carry it over to the Knowledge Seekers Workshop or the Plasma Reactor Group, which will be starting at 7 a.m. Central European Time on Wednesday, August 5th. And people are welcome to bring their replications and questions and comments to that group. Okay, I think that's it. And of course, we have the Knowledge Seekers Workshop coming up on Thursday at 9 a.m. Central European Time. Okay, I think that's it for today. Thank you everybody for attending the 129th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, August 4th, 2020. We'll be back next week at this same time and place for the 130th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. Okay, bye for now.